He woke up. Same alarm, same ceiling, same coffee, same street, same faces passing by, same messages waiting, same answers, same tired smile. And for years, nothing looked wrong. He had a job, a routine, a place to live, people who thought he was fine. But one morning, standing in the middle of a crowded street, he felt something strange. Everyone was moving. Cars, people, time, life. But inside, he felt completely still. And that was the moment he realized. He hadn't been living. He had been repeating. He didn't notice it at first, because automatic living doesn't feel dangerous. It feels normal. He woke up, checked his phone, brushed his teeth, made coffee, left the house, answered messages, sat in traffic, worked for hours, came home, ate something quick, opened another screen, and called it a day. Then the next morning, he did it again. Same order, same speed, same silence inside. Days were passing, but they didn't feel different. Monday felt like Thursday. April felt like January. Weeks disappeared so quietly. He barely noticed them leaving. And the strangest part was this: he wasn't unhappy enough to stop. He wasn't happy enough to feel alive. He was just functioning, moving through life, without really being there. At some point, Anne started hiding him. He still showed up, still paid bills, still answered people, still nodded at the right moments, still said, "I'm good." But something inside him was getting quieter, not peaceful, just distant. He stopped asking what he wanted. He stopped noticing what he felt. He stopped questioning where his days were going, because every day already had a script. Wake up, move, respond, work, consumer, sleep, repeat. And the more he repeated it, the less he recognized himself. His dreams didn't disappear all at once. They became postponed. His emotions didn't vanish overnight. They became muted. His life didn't collapse. That would have been easier to notice. Instead, it became efficient, predictable, manageable, empty. And that is what makes automatic living so dangerous. It doesn't destroy your life loudly. It teaches you to survive it quietly. Until one day, you look around and realize the person living your life doesn't feel like you anymore. It happened on a normal morning. Nothing dramatic. No bad news. No breakdown. No crisis. He was standing at the kitchen counter, holding a cup of coffee, when he suddenly stopped. The apartment was quiet. The city was already moving outside. His phone was on the table. His keys were by the door. Everything was exactly where it always was. But something felt wrong. Not outside, inside. For the first time in years, he looked at his own life and felt like a stranger in it. That was the terrifying part. Nothing was forcing him to live this way. No one had locked the door. No one had taken his choices. No one had told him to stop dreaming. But somehow, his life had become a room he never left. Same habits, same reactions, same distractions, same excuses, Same tired promises. I'll change soon. I just need more time. Maybe next month. And every time he said that, the routine became stronger. Not because it was good for him, but because it was familiar. And sometimes, the most dangerous prison is the one that feels comfortable. He used to think life would announce itself. That one day, everything would suddenly feel clear. The right direction, the right purpose, the right version of himself. But life didn't arrive like that. It arrived quietly, in small choices, in repeated mornings, in the things he accepted without thinking, the job he stayed in, the conversations he avoided, the dreams he kept delaying, the habits he never questioned. And slowly, without one big decision, his life became something he didn't choose. It just happened, one repeated day at a time. And that was the part that scared him. He didn't ruin his life. He simply stopped paying attention to it. The strange thing was, he didn't feel completely sad. He didn't feel completely lost. He didn't even feel desperate. He felt numb, and numbness is dangerous because it doesn't scream. It doesn't force you to stop. It lets you keep going. You can answer emails while numb, smile while numb, eat dinner while numb, watch videos while numb, tell people you're fine while numb. And because nothing looks broken, no one notices. Not even you. You just keep moving, doing what needs to be done, avoiding what needs to be felt, until your own life starts feeling like something happening in the background. And you become a person, watching yourself from far away. One afternoon, he was sitting in traffic. The radio was on. People were crossing the street. His phone kept lighting up. Everything around him was moving. But inside, there was nothing. No anger, no excitement, no real sadness, just a quiet emptiness. And for a second, he wondered when that started. When did music become background noise? When did food stop feeling enjoyable? When did weekends stop feeling different? When did conversations become something to finish instead of something to feel? He didn't have an answer. And that scared him more than the emptiness itself, because he realized he had not lost his life in one moment. He had lost pieces of it, while calling it normal. From the outside, his life looked normal. He woke up, worked, paid bills, answered messages, kept promises, showed up when needed. Nothing about him looked dramatic. And that was the problem, because automatic living rarely looks like failure. Sometimes it looks responsible, organized, busy, stable. But inside, something is slowly disappearing. Not all at once, not loud enough to scare you, just quietly enough for you to keep ignoring it until your days are full, but your life feels empty, until your schedule is busy, but your soul feels untouched, until everyone thinks you are doing fine because you are still functioning. But functioning is not the same as living. The cost was not obvious. It wasn't one big failure. It wasn't a dramatic mistake. It was smaller than that. He stopped noticing beauty. He stopped feeling proud. He stopped getting excited about small things. He stopped looking forward to anything. Life became something to manage, not something to experience. And the worst part was, he thought this was maturity. He thought adults were supposed to feel this way. Tired, busy, numb, useful. But deep down, something in him knew the truth. This wasn't maturity. This was disconnection. And the longer he ignored it, the harder it became to remember who he was before the routine took over. Then one night, he sat alone in the living room. No music, no television, no phone in his hand, just silence. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't try to escape it. He just sat there, listening to the room, listening to his own breathing, listening to the part of himself he had been ignoring for years, and one question came up. Not loud, not dramatic, but impossible to avoid. If I keep living like this, what will my life become? He didn't answer, because deep down he already knew. The routine was not protecting him. It was slowly replacing him. The next morning, nothing looked different. Same sunlight, same kitchen, same coffee, same phone on the table. But he looked at it differently. For the first time, he noticed the gap, the small space, between waking up and reaching for distraction, between feeling uncomfortable and trying to escape it, between wanting a different life and repeating the old one. And in that small space, he realized something important. He was not trapped by one big decision. He was trapped by 1,000 automatic ones, tiny choices repeated every day until they became his life. So he tried something small. Not a new identity, not a perfect routine, not a dramatic transformation, just one interruption. Before checking his phone, he waited. Before saying yes automatically, he paused. Before opening another screen, he breathed. Before repeating the same reaction, he asked himself, do I actually want this? At first, it felt strange, almost uncomfortable, because when you live on autopilot for long enough, presence feels like resistance. But slowly those small pauses started changing something, not his whole life, not yet, but the direction of his attention. And sometimes, that is where waking up begins. He didn't become a new person overnight, but something small changed. He started noticing again the taste of coffee, the sound of morning, the feeling of walking without rushing, the silence before reaching for his phone, the space between one thought and the next. And for the first time in years, life didn't feel like a blur. It felt close, not perfect, not exciting, just real. And that was enough to make him understand something. He had not lost his life. He had only stopped being present for it. That realization didn't fix everything, but it gave him something back. A choice. Not a perfect life. Not a new beginning with music playing. Just a small choice. Inside ordinary moments. He could drink coffee without disappearing into a screen. He could walk without filling every second with noise. He could listen without planning what to say next. He could stop before repeating the same day again. And maybe that was the point. Waking up was not about escaping his life. It was about finally entering it. One quiet moment at a time. And maybe this is the danger. Not that life becomes terrible, but that it becomes automatic, predictable enough to ignore, comfortable enough to repeat, busy enough to avoid the truth. You wake up, you move, you respond, you consume, you sleep. And one day you realize years have passed, but you were barely there for them. That is why waking up matters. Not because everything is wrong, but because something inside you may still be waiting for your attention. So maybe waking up doesn't mean changing everything. Maybe it means noticing. Noticing the coffee in your hand, the silence in the room, the person in front of you, the life happening while you keep rushing. Because the truth is, you don't lose your life all at once. You lose it in small moments you are not present for. And if you can notice that, even once, then maybe you are not too late. Maybe you are just finally awake. You don't need to escape your life. You need to return to it. To the mornings. To the people. To the silence. To the moments you stopped feeling. Because a life on autopilot can look normal from the outside. But inside, It slowly teaches you to disappear.